Last episode we spent 150 million on 5 new players but then suffered our worst start to the season with back-to-back losses. We're 19th place in the table, we still haven't won any silverware and I can already feel the pressure starting to mount on my shoulders. But as ever, if you're enjoying the series so far, please feel free to like and subscribe and let's get into today's episode. Well, it's been an absolute horror show of a start for Everton Football Club this season. Despite me going big in the transfer window this season, bringing in players the likes of Alex Scott for 28 million, Maxence Lacroix for 34 million, Jan Couto for 39.4 million, and even Arsenal former wonder kid Emile Smith-Rowe for 42.5 million. It has been a woeful start with back-to-back losses against the likes of Nottingham Forest and Brentford, meaning we are propped up at the bottom end of the table by one team in Chelsea who have got a game in hand on us. In terms of player ratings, the squad is the best it's ever been. The depth on the bench is stronger than it's ever looked in any previous season gone by, but yet with only one goal so far in our opening 2 games from this man Brian Brobby, with the board expecting me to hit some serious milestones this season, winning the Premier League, winning the FA Cup and getting to the final of the Champions League. These sort of performances from the squad are not conducive to a successful season, and if I'm not careful, despite spending £150 million of the board's money, I could well find myself in some serious trouble if things don't start to pick up pretty quickly. Now, as you know, across the course of this career mode, I have jumped between several different formations to try and get the best out of my players. I'm currently playing this 4-3-3 attack-minded formation, but with some of my defensive frailties in the past, I have shifted more towards a more defence-minded 4-4-1-1. And when I've been struggling to find the back of the net in previous times, I've switched to this more 4-4-2 dynamic formation to try and see if I can involve 2 strikers up front. And so with that in mind, I think it is now time for me to try and see if I can switch things up once again. And with me struggling to find the back of the net in my opening 2 games, I have decided to go with something incredibly drastic. I've got rid of both of my fullbacks, I've put 3 defenders at the back, I've stuck with 5 in midfield, but the biggest change is that I finally found an option to have both Brian Brobby and Moukoko starting up front for me for the first time since both of them arrived at the club. Some might say it's a bold move because potentially it might leave us exposed at the back, but with Crystal Palace up next in the Premier League and a return to Selhurst Park for this man Mark Gay, I'm really hoping this new tactical setup can finally provide us with the cutting edge we need to get 3 points this season. Pickford of course keeps his place in goal and it's a start for Lacroix, Gay and Branthwaite all together in defence for the first time this season. O'Reilly's partnered by Onana with Damsgaard in behind the strikers, Emile Smith-Rowe on the left, Bakayoko will start on the right and of course Brian Brobby will be partnered by Moukoko for the first time in this career mode. So here we go then, big opportunity for my more attacking players to really show what they can do here, but there's going to be a big responsibility on some of my more defence-minded players to keep Crystal Palace at bay here, as now Crystal Palace will be the team to try and come forward first, but it's Emile Smith-Rowe, which does a good job of tracking back. Doucouré though for Palace, and Nana comes across with a thumping challenge and does a really good job of wriggling away, from the challenge of the Crystal Palace attackers, and now Moukoko has it, and look at this, we have numbers up here. Emile Smith-Rowe into Brian Brobby. Brobby though back to Emile Smith-Rowe. Emile Smith-Rowe is going to try and bring this one into the box, cuts it back into Damsgaard. Doucouré just got in the way, and that was a good piece of defending by the Crystal Palace man. Into Mark Gay. Gay goes across to Lacroix here, and Lacroix's now going to try and bring it down the right hand side. We don't have Teresiano to go for the overlap of Bakayoko, so he's going to have to go it alone. Instead checks back onto his left, looks for Moukoku's come deep, into O'Reilly, into Emile Smith-Rowe's come centrally, into Damsgaard on his right. Oh, he's put it wide. Well, that was a massive opportunity and one that Damsgaard should have taken right on the penalty spot. Oh my word, how on earth did he miss from there? Doucouré, it's been a really positive start so far for us, but we've got to make sure that we do not leave ourselves open at the back with Phillips now in the box, into Wind, who strikes, good save from Pickford. Well, I've got to be honest already, with this new tactical vision, we do look like we are set up to really go for the throat, but we are kind of exposed in the wing-back positions. We've just got to hope that that does not come back to bite us as this game progresses, as Emile Smith-Rowe tries to shriek down this left-hand side, and the former Arsenal man has the pace to burst past Doucouré here. Can he try and find a ball into the box? Instead, he's going to cut it back and finds a ball into Moukoko. Moukoko looking for an option into Matt O'Reilly, and in the end, it's a good save by Johnston, and it's hacked away by the Palace defenders. Only out as far as Bakayoko, though. Back into Moukoko. Moukoko into Brobby. Brobby strikes. What a save again. Well, we are so close to breaking down this Crystal Palace team. We've had 2 huge opportunities, but we couldn't take him. It's going to be a third in. Moukoko into the box. Brian Brobby. What a save, and it's cleared off the line by the Palace defenders. We are peppering this Palace goal, but I certainly feel a lot more confident with this new tactical setup. Into Onana. Onana wriggles away from the challenge of the Crystal Palace midfield and plays a nice ball into Brian Brobby, who bursts into the box here. Lovely stuff from the Dutchman, and in the end tried to cut it back to his strike partner Moukoko, but couldn't quite reach him. Damsgaard though will get onto the loose ball. The pressure is relentless here from this Crystal Palace team under this this new tactical vision. O'Reilly into Moukoko again, tried to just play it around the corner, but Bakayoko in the end was blocked off. Hughes now for Crystal Palace, and that is exactly where they're going to try and expose us. Right down these left and right hand sides as Dwight McNeil, the former Everton man, I'm sure he will be desperate to put in a decent performance here today, and he goes past my defence into the penalty area, continues his run into win now. They're just trying to shape up to strike. Decore strikes, it's off the post. Pickford was beaten. Fortunately enough, my goal was not, and we breathe a sigh of relief. Well, my word, what an end-to-end first 45 minutes we have seen here at Selhurst Park, but frustratingly, we've had some golden opportunities, but we have not been able to take them, even with the extra attacking players. We've got to make sure that we make them count, though, here in the second half. Damsgaard now plays it into Emil Smith-Rowe, goes central into Brian Brobby. Moukoko round the corner into Bakayoko, beautifully done. Bakayoko back into Moukoko, and it was really good play, but in the end, it was just blocked off by the Palace defenders. Been the story of the game. Damsgaard, though, into O'Reilly, who strikes with his left and drags it wide. Well, I mean, we've been creating chances of that, there can be no doubt, but we just haven't quite seemed to find our shooting boots so far this season. Hopefully, with about half an hour remaining on this game, we can make amends, and hopefully we can try and find the breakthrough here as Brian Brobby plays it through the legs of the defender, and Moukoko tried to do the same thing onto the onrushing Emil Smith-Rowe, but couldn't quite find him. And now Decore for Crystal Palace to lead the charge, and that's a wonderful ball into Karsdorp. He now tries to go past Mark Gay, but the Englishman comes across, some fine defending into Damsgaard yet again, who's come deep, and Damsgaard wriggles away from the challenge of the Palace midfield. Out to Bakayoko on the right hand side, into Moukoko. Moukoko surely is going to try and go down the line again into Bakayoko. Really nicely stuff. Bakayoko onto his left, straight at the goalkeeper. Good save. Damsgaard again for Everton. Short one into Onana. O'Reilly back into Damsgaard. Beautiful stuff into Emil Smith-Rowe, and Emil Smith-Rowe for his first goal in an Everton shirt, and that was a fabulous piece of build-up play, and having that extra attacker up front paid dividends for us once again. Beautiful, incisive play. We just cut through the Crystal Palace midfield and defence, and Emil Smith-Rowe cutting in from the left-hand side, found a wonderful pocket of space inside the penalty area, and the former Arsenal man had the composure to just slide a strike past the goalkeeper into the bottom corner. A lovely finish and a beautiful way to get his first goal in an Everton shirt. It's 1-0. Well, that is exactly what the doctor ordered, just what we needed here today after peppering and absolutely battering the Crystal Palace goal. But we've just got to make sure that we keep our professionalism, and we make sure that we do not throw away what has been a fine performance so far here today. Brian Brobby wins it again, and now once again we can strike against this Crystal Palace defence, and it's a ball through into the path of Moukoko. He's going to drive into the box, looks for the cut back into Damsgaard, who just drags it wide. Short one into Jan Kuto, who's come as a substitute, and he can use his speed now to try and drive down this right hand side. Goes past one player, doesn't manage to go past another, but he will get a foul for his troubles, and it's a free kick that it will be that man Jan Kuto to take, and I'm going to try and see if I can float this one into the box here. It's going to be a little bit too far, but it's a good ball into Bakayoko, into Moukoko, who took it on the volley. He just managed to just knock it down using his thigh and put himself in a wonderful position with a fabulous first touch, and it was an even better volley into the bottom corner to double our lead here. Lovely little flick on from Bakayoko. Absolutely beautiful touch, and an even better finish from the young German. Sensational on his return to the starting 11, and that is exactly what we needed. 2-0 here at Selhurst Park. Richards for Palace into Bruno Fernandes, now plying his trade at Crystal Palace as opposed to Manchester United. What on earth happened to his career as now Lacroix tries to bring this one forward. Look at the bodies we have forward here. Moukoko into Jan Kuto. Has he managed to stay on side? It looks like he has. I'm going to try and drag this one back, but in the end Lacroix kind of got in the way, but Moukoko keeps the ball alive, plays it back into the centre-back. He tried to go across to Bakayoko, but it was well defended by Decore, and now we are deep into stoppage time here. Surely the referee is going to blow his whistle anytime soon. The press from the Everton players is relentless, as is the referee blowing the whistle for full time. Well, finally, after our third time of asking, Everton Football Club have their first win of the season, and we have our first 3 points on the board. The smiles are there from all of the Everton players, but it is that man, his goal, Moukoko, was the big difference here today. As a full time here at Selhurst Park, it finishes Palace 0, Everton 2. Well, I tell you what, that felt good. Moukoko scoring his first goal of the season, and whilst I was nervous this formation might leave us a little bit exposed in the wide areas defensively, overall it made such a massive difference to our attacking play and our attacking cohesiveness every single time we got the ball in the opposition half. That man Emil Smith-Rowe popped up at the perfect opportunity to get his first goal in an Everton shirt, and hopefully that can kickstart his career here at Everton Football Club. And as for Moukoko, after complaining to the press several times last season that he wasn't getting enough starting games, he finally has the opportunity to do so, and he repaid my faith with a wonderfully taken goal, and I'm hoping it means that longer term he can form a formidable partnership up front with this man Brian Brobby. And it looks like that may well be the case as both of them get on the score sheet along with Damsgaard to give Leicester City a 3-1 thumping at Goodison Park. And it's another win on the bounce as away from home we beat Bournemouth 2-1 courtesy of goals once again from Brian Brobby, and this time a late one from Matt O'Reilly. And with those 3 victories getting our season back on track and dragging us back up to the top half of the table as we now sit in 7th place, now just a few points away from the final Champions League spot. With this huge change in formation, I finally feel like our season is underway. However, for now it's time to forget about the Premier League and turn our attention back to Europe's biggest cup competition, as folks, it is time to welcome Everton Football Club back to the Champions League. Unfortunately enough for us, we have been drawn in what I think is a very favourable and winnable Champions League group stage, as we've got Bayern Leverkusen, RB Salzburg and Copenhagen all to play. And it is going to be Bayern Leverkusen, the biggest team of the lot, whom we're going to be welcoming as the first European team this season to Goodison Park in front of our home fans, as it is time to embark on our Champions League campaign once again. This season though, we're going to be hoping to go one step further than the semi-final. We are going to be seeing if we can go all the way. And of course, with this newfound success that we've stumbled on with this new formation, it is no surprise to see us lining up with it once again. Branthwaite, Gay and Teresiano make up my back three. O'Reilly and Onana partner Damsgaard in midfield, Bakayoko on the right, Emil Smith-Rowe on the left, and of course, the 2 big boys, Brian Brobby and Mukoku, starts up front. So here we go then. Can we forget about the demons of last season? Can we go one step further in the competition this year and go to the Champions League final? And who knows, maybe even win the entire thing. Onana wins it in the heart of midfield and plays it into Emil Smith-Rowe, cuts inside, really nicely done, and Emil Smith-Rowe plays a nice ball into Brian Brobby. He's going to look down the channel into Bakayoko. It's taken on beautifully, and Bakayoko now into the box, struck it with his right, just didn't strike it well enough, and in the end it's beaten away for a corner. It's going to be the first corner though, that the same man Bakayoko is going to take. 7 minutes on the clock here. It's been a good start so far for Everton. Headed away though by Upamecano, only back out as far as Bakayoko, who's going to try and throw this one back in the end. Took a little bit too long, and it bounced away for Branthwaite, but it's going to be a third opportunity now for Bakayoko to throw it in. He does, but this time, once again, he just hasn't managed to get his footwork right so far in this game, as he fired it straight at the goalkeeper, and it's an easy one for him to clear away. Teresiano now down the right-hand side, plays it once again into Bakayoko, who's been heavily involved so far in this game. Onana though, Onana's going to try and feed it over to the left-hand side, looking for Emil Smith-Rowe, nods it down, nods it back inside for Matt O'Reilly, just building out from the back here, every single man inside the Bayern Leverkusen midfield here, in the Bayern Leverkusen half, as Teresiano now tries to bring it deep into their half and finds a wonderful ball into Bakayoko, who's just straight offside again. Sunu for Leverkusen, into Gruder, into Puerta now, tries to go round the corner, does find Grimaldo, really nicely done, and Boniface now to bring it forward for Leverkusen for the first time in this game. They've had to wait about 20 minutes on the clock to try and see if they can fashion an opportunity, and it is an opportunity that Memphis Depay takes with ease, and just like that, after all the good work from us in the opening 20 minutes, we go and throw it all away as we are undone at the back. The former Manchester United man, Memphis Depay, strikes for Bayern Leverkusen. It is a wonderful strike, as they just took my defence apart. It was all too easy for them to just ghost into my penalty area, and Jordan Pickford had no chance. Memphis Depay with a wonderful strike, and it just goes to show that you cannot switch off at this level as Bayern Leverkusen take the lead 1-0. It's so frustrating because we have been the better team so far, but we just haven't been able to find the back of the net and haven't really been able to carve out that clear-cut opportunity that would have really given us a strong opportunity to take the lead in the game, as Emil Smith-Rowe is absolutely hacked down. That is a horrendous challenge. Surely the referee's going to look for his card or a pocket, and he's only pulled out a yellow card. How on earth has Duchameni stayed on the field? It was an absolutely ridiculous challenge. Let's just check out the replay. I mean, two-footed, made no attempt to play the ball. What on earth is the referee doing? Boniface now for Leverkusen. Short one into Duchameni. A lucky man to still be on the field here as Memphis Depay plays a lovely ball into Boniface. Where on earth is my defence? Undone yet again. Pickford, though, to the rescue. Beats it away. Puerta keeps it alive. Boniface has it again. We do not manage to put in a challenge, but we do manage to put in a block. And in the end, it's headed clear by Onana. Only out as far as Damsgaard. And Damsgaard now will try and play it into Brian Brobby. I'm going to try and look around the corner into Mukoku. Take it on really nicely. And now the German can drive into the box here. Mukoku with the opportunity. And Mukoku will accept that opportunity with aplomb. And he levels the scores here at Goodison Park. Absolutely fabulous once again. Well, the two strikers combining, and that is the benefits of playing two men up front. Brian Brobby selflessly playing it into the path of Moukoko, and the young German did the rest. Used his pace to drive into the box, but he still had a lot of work to do. But it was a wonderful finish. Smashed it into the top right-hand corner. He says thank you very much. It's 1-1. Frimpong now for Bayern Leverkusen central, but Bakayoko came across to try and challenge, and Tuchemeni ended up winning it back from him though. Frimpong has it again now. Frimpong twisting, turning, trying to get away from several challenges. Does get away from several challenges and just drives into my box. Where on earth are my midfield and defence completely carved open by the brilliance of one man? But it was all too easy for him. What on earth was going on? Just no one in the right positions. It's an absolute shambles at the back, and Jordan Pickford could do nothing about it. Just as we get ourselves back in the game, we throw it all away. It's 2-1. Branthwaite goes in field for Emile Smith-Rowe's cut inside, and Emile Smith-Rowe now is going to try and dart back out to the left-hand side. And he's gone past the challenger Frimpong really nicely. He's going to throw it into the box. It's a poor ball though, after such good work from the Englishman. Memphis Depay through the channel into that man Frimpong, the goal scorer, but this time Mark A did put a good challenge in. We don't manage to win the ball back, and now Frimpong will go again. Frimpong full of confidence. This time Branthwaite does come across, and Onana can try and bring this one out of defence. Emile Smith-Rowe now to burst down the middle into Damsgaard. Damsgaard round the corner into Moukoko, and the German now will drive into the box yet again. Moukoko has a wonderful opportunity, and Moukoko gets his second of the game, and he gets our second of the game, and there is just no stopping this young man in the Champions League this season. Once again, a defence-splitting pass, and we manage to just hit them on the counter-attack and once again take advantage of the electric pace that Moukoko offers us. Drove into the box, finished again wonderfully, 2-2 for Sunu. Into Danzo. This is anyone's game to win here. Both teams, every single time they went forward, they look like they're going to score here. Neither team can really rest on their levels, as now Moukoko plays it back into the path of Emile Smith-Rowe, who drives into the penalty area. Won't have the pace to go all the way, so instead has to check back into Alex Scott on as a substitute. He goes into a cul-de-sac, so checks back once again into Emile Smith-Rowe, who goes past the defenders. Brilliant stuff into, looking for the run of Bakayoko. Couldn't quite find him, but it's been a really good response. Boniface, lovely ball around the corner into the goal scorer Frimpong, who checks back into Memphis Depay, and my defence once again has been split open. Puerta though across to Grimaldo. This time Teresiano tries to come across. Pickford though with a big save, and in the end just manages to get on the loose ball as well. Memphis Depay, lovely ball into Gruder. Gruder strikes straight at Jordan Pickford. It will fall to Frimpong, and Frimpong was the only man at the back post deep into stoppage time who was unmarked. And look at the celebrations here in front of the Evertonians. We cannot quite believe it. Yet again, we have thrown away all the good work that we've worked so hard for, as Bayern Leverkusen, surely, right at the death, have snatched 3 points away from us. Well, once again, defensively, we were undone. Just too many holes at the back. And because we were left exposed in the wing-back positions, Frimpong was able to ghost into the back post unmarked, and of course easily fired that into an empty net. Jordan Pickford couldn't get across quick enough. It's 3-2 Leverkusen. Well, it's just so frustrating. All of the good work over the last few games ripped to shreds as we are undone here in our first game in the group stage of the Champions League. That man Frimpong completely tore my defence to shreds. As a full-time here, it finishes Everton 2, Leverkusen 3. While being beaten in the last minute is a really disappointing pill to swallow, and it means that we start off our Champions League campaign rock bottom of our group. And I've got to be honest, perhaps we need to be a little bit more savvy when it comes to our tactical setup in big games. Offensively, we are creating so many chances, and I feel really positive every single time we get into the opposition half, but defensively, we are just left wide open, and when you play the bigger teams, they will take advantage, and they will make you pay for defensive lapses in concentration. One positive to take, though, is the combination and the partnership between this man, Youssoufa Moukoko, and this man, Brian Brobby. He scored 3 in his first 6 games. He has scored 4 in his first 6 games, and it's been a wonderful start for those two. But fortunately enough, after getting back to winning ways, thumping Brighton 3-1 at Goodison Park, and fortunately just getting the better of Bristol City in the League Cup courtesy of a late 3-2 penalty victory, with us facing off against Newcastle United in our very next game in the Premier League away from home, and Newcastle United, who were crowned Premier League champions last season, I've decided to heed my own advice from earlier. It's going to be a tough game, so I do not want to leave myself exposed, and I want to give myself the perfect balance to try and attack, but also remain defensively responsible. And so that is why for this game I have returned to my usual 4-3-3 formation, and that means Pickford starts in goal, Teresiano comes back in at right back, Mark A is partnered by Lacroix, and Hato comes back in at left back. Onana, Matt O'Reilly and Damsgaard stay in the centre of midfield, Bakayoko on the right, Emile Smith-Rowe on the left, and of course the man of the moment, Moukoko, starts up front. So this is a big opportunity. A Newcastle team that we just finished 1 point behind, a Newcastle team that stopped us from winning the Premier League last season. season. We've got to try and see if we can seek our revenge here today and get one over on them. Alexander Isak, though, for Newcastle United to bring it forward, and he's got options ahead of him, but instead goes down the centre. Oh my goodness, this is just unbelievable. One more lapse in concentration. We don't close Alexander Isak down. I thought he was going to try and play it off to the right. He dummied and instead took it all the way himself and applied a wonderful finish past Jordan Pickford that the fans are absolutely delighted about. The Swede just kept on going. He kept going and kept going. And with the edge of his foot, the outside of his foot I should say, just bent it round Jordan Pickford right on the edge of the box. Eddie Howe's delighted, 1-0. Well, I mean, 5 minutes in, you could not have asked for a worse start here at St James's Park. Down 1-0 to Newcastle United, and that is not what I wanted, and we've given the ball away in a really cheap position here. On our return to a 4-3-3 formation, we just seem like we're absolutely all over the place at the moment. Teresiano, though, will try and burst down the right-hand side. He's blocked off, though, by the former Everton man, Ben Godfrey, who plays it into Manu Kone. He now plays it into Anthony Gordon, who comes into the centre. Onana tries to come across to challenge, does challenge, but doesn't do a good enough job. He's not strong enough. Anthony Gordon into Mintel, and it's blocked by Jordan Pickford. Well, Newcastle have now got a free kick in a really dangerous position that the goal scorer, Alexander Isak, is going to step up here to take. It's the dummy from Lamina. He's full of confidence. What a strike. What a save from Jordan Pickford. Off the bar. It's thrown back in. And in the end, none of the Newcastle players could get on the end of it. But my word, they were inches away from doubling their lead. Mark Gay into Lacroix. We've got to try and see if we can pick our heads and our hearts off the floor here. It's been a woeful start in the opening 20 minutes here. As Emil Smith-Rowe comes central, plays it back out wide to Hato. Can Hato try and find a ball into the box? Looking for Bakayoko at the back post, couldn't quite find him. Headed clear though, only out as far as O'Reilly. O'Reilly bustling, bundling his way through, managed to win the ball back and continues his run down the left-hand side. Checks it back into Hato. Hato into Emil Smith-Rowe yet again. If some sort of creative spark is going to come, it looks like it's going to come from the former Arsenal man. Bakayoko, though, switches onto his right and Bakayoko strikes. That is a wonderful finish with our first really big clear-cut opportunity of the game. Bakayoko takes it with aplomb. He celebrates with his players. That is a brilliant way to level the scores here. Well, we had to take our time. We had to probe and pepper the Newcastle goal. But in the end, we managed to break the lines. And Bakayoko with his weaker foot. That is a fabulous strike. He's delighted, so am I. 1-1. Turner Cook out to Anthony Gordon yet again. Goes past Teresiano, who's a little bit rusty, playing back in his usual position after coming back into the centre of defence as Alexander Isak strikes. And yet again, having scored, we are totally opened up at the back. And immediately, Newcastle peg us back once again. It is 2-1 here. What on earth is going on defensively with Everton Football Club? We just seem to totally lose our concentration when we score, and we throw it away yet again. Newcastle regain the lead, it's 2-1. Well, it's these lapses in concentrations every single time so far this season. Every time we score, we just seem to be wide open for the opposition to respond. And so far, Newcastle have done just that. And it is this man, Alexander Isak, looking for his hat-trick. My defenders all over the place. He plays it to the back post. Lewis tries to strike. In the end, goes wide, though. Lacroix into Onana. Onana turns around and looks for Damsgaard, who's come short to try and get involved in the play. Try and see if he can spark some sort of creativity into this much maligned Everton attack here as Mark Gay tried to do the same thing, brought it out of defence and lost it in a really dangerous position. And now Anthony Gordon being chased down by Onana, but the Belgian can't win it back here. Mark Gay, though, does come back and he makes a challenge. He makes amends for his earlier mistake. That is good defending from the towering Englishman. Damsgaard, though, has it once again, though, and he plays it out wide to Emil Smith-Rowe. Emil Smith-Rowe is going to try and check it into the centre. Got the pass all wrong, and that is symptomatic of our display in the final third so far in this game. But it's been an up and down season so far, none more evident so by this up and down 45 minutes. We concede early with a shocking piece of defending. We then finally fight back and get it back, but then we just lose our concentration immediately and give a really cheap goal away. And now we've got it all to do in the second 45. Lewis being hunted down by Moukoko to no effect though, as Newcastle managed just to break the press and clear their lines. Manu Kone comes deep though to try and collect. Once again he's being chased down by Damsgaard. Damsgaard this time though does manage to win the ball back, and that is exactly the sort of pressing and aggression that I want to see from my attacking players. And Damsgaard now back into Moukoko, strikes with his right. That is brilliant. He continues his fine form and he gets us back on level terms here at St James's Park. Well, it all started from the relentless pressure from the Dane Damsgaard, and he did so much hard work, drove into the opposition penalty area and then cut it back, laid it on a plate for Moukoko, who with his right absolutely powered a strike past the goalkeeper. He does not miss from those angles, and once again, we level the scores. It's 2-2. Anthony Gordon for Everton into Turner Cook. They've got their back to goal here, but they've still managed to find a way through our defence. Alexander Isak really has the beating of my defence here, and he plays it back out to Anthony Gordon, who throws it into the box, into Lamina. This time Ian Matson as a substitute with a huge last-ditch challenge. That was absolutely massive as they were clean through on goal otherwise. Now Emil Smith-Rowe, though, is going to try and bring this central. Can I try and find a ball down the line? What is he doing? Newcastle now to bring it forward. End-to-end stuff here in this second half. Lacroix wins it back and then gives it away just as quickly. Newcastle have it again into Anthony Gordon. And my word, another Newcastle attack that we've totally fallen asleep on. We lost it in a really dangerous position and Anthony Gordon just ghosted unmarked into my penalty area. And once again, we have thrown away all the good work that we've done so far. Newcastle back in the lead, 3-2. Well, with 20 minutes remaining on the clock here, desperate times call for desperate measures, and that means I'm switching back to this 3-5-2 formation. Brian Brobby will come back on up front to partner Mukoku, and Jan Couto will hopefully try and use that electric pace of his down that right flank to go against tired Newcastle legs. But every single time we work so hard to put ourselves in a decent position, and then we just throw it away so cheaply. Really poor, and we've got to do better than that this season if we want to be more consistent. It's been a total yo-yo of a season, yo-yo of performances, and it is just continuing here today against Newcastle United. Emil Smith-Rowe now, though, into Brian Brobby, on as a substitute, trying to see if he can inject some sort of life into this Everton attack here as Mukoku now tries to bring it down this right-hand side, manages to wriggle his way past the defenders and plays a lovely ball into that man, Jan Couto. He checks back into Damsgaard, and Damsgaard just tried to lift it over Leno, but the goalkeeper was equal to it, and Newcastle breathed a sigh of relief at the back. Alexander Isak yet again has it. This man has been a thorn in my side all game. He's got the pace and the power to get away from my defenders, but this time Jordan Pickford comes out and just about manages to get there ahead of the Swede, and now Jan Couto can try and use his pace to go past the Newcastle defenders. Mukoku into the Brazilian down the right-hand side, and Jan Couto now to stretch his legs, continues looking for the ball, back into Damsgaard. Damsgaard just drags his strike way out. It goes out for a throw. It's horrendous. Well, with just 3 minutes remaining on the clock, that was a huge opportunity, but we just could not take advantage of it. We haven't really been able to find our shooting boots so far in this season, and yet again it's come back to bite us, but Damsgaard wins the ball back high. Mukoku turns. Mukoku tried to release Jan Couto, but Ben Godfrey, the former Everton man, with a wonderful defensive challenge right at the death. Lewis takes it down this side. He plays it into Anthony Gordon. Surely it's just a matter of moments before the referee blows for full time. It's into Alexander Isak, who drags it wide, but the referee now does decide that is that as he calls time on this game. Well, once again, it's nothing but frustration from the travelling Everton fans as we are beaten here at St James's Park by the Premier League champions Newcastle United. That man absolutely terrorised my defence for the entire 90 minutes, as his 2 goals were enough to help Newcastle United on their way as they beat us at full time, 3-2. Well, this roller coaster of a season continues. Yes, we've managed to drag ourselves up to 5th place, but we are 7 points behind Manchester City with just 7 games played so far in the Premier League. And with us being bottom of our Champions League group with just 1 game played so far, despite us changing our formation in a bid to try and solve some of the problems that we found ourselves in, things just do not seem to be clicking for these Everton players so far this season, and I've got to hope that sooner rather than later we can try and turn this poor form around. However, that will be that for the end of today's episode. It's been a roller coaster one, and I hope you have enjoyed it as much as I have. Thank you everyone for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again next time.